Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Create Your Life series, where we help you maximize your potential and results in the area of personal development, entrepreneurship, and travel. And I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown.
Create your life.
Crée ta propre vie.
Create your life.
创造你的生活。
Create your life.
Crea la tua vita.
Create your life.
Ontdek jou lewe.
You better create your life.
Create your life.
Create la vie.
Create your life.
Create your life.
Create Your Life family, thanks for tuning in to this episode. Before we get started, I wanted to share some exciting information from our sponsor. We only pick people and companies that we think are awesome to bring onto the show, so please support them. As a podcaster, I've spent hours and hours editing, doing show graphics, and much more, and I finally got fed up with losing all of my free time to post-production activities. So I decided to do something about it. And if you are a fellow busy podcaster who would like to just record and have someone else do the dirty work of graphic creation, tagging and uploading your show to your server, and in-depth SEO generating show notes, go to podcastlaundry.com or call 347-871-8273 to schedule your consultation. That's podcastlaundry.com or 347-871-8273. Beautiful people, this is the Create Your Life series. I'm your host, Kevin Y. Brown, and it is an amazing day to be here with you. I'm super excited to have this young lady on the show today because I've been trying to get her on for months, and she has finally slowed down and has the time to be here, so I am ecstatic. Just to tell you a little bit about her, she is a danceaholic, travelista, and fitness guru that makes healthy living and positive energy contagious. Her energy is very contagious. Like, she just brightens up my life whenever I even see a picture of her. I just know and I can feel her energy through that. Not to mention when I see her in person, even if it's just in passing, I'm inspired and excited about my life and hers as well. She's a certified personal trainer, group exercise instructor, and health and wellness coach. After losing 50 pounds and transforming her lifestyle, her mission is to help individuals, groups, and organizations live happier and healthier lifestyle. She believes that our health physically, mentally, and spiritually is so important for our growth and stability. Originally from Ghana, she and her mother, who is the founder of KukuwaFitness.com, organize yearly fitness and cultural excursions to different countries in Africa and teach fitness and dance classes locally and internationally. Visit AfricaWithUs.com to learn more. But also the Kukuwa African dance workout that she and her mother are master trainers at is a workout that allows you to travel Africa without your passport through music and dance. And you can also become a certified coach in Kukuwa as well. So without further ado, let's find out how they get people to move their boomsies around the world, Africa style. Create Your Life family. Please welcome Miss Coach Cass Fit.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so let me go ahead and say your name correctly. I call her Coach Cass Fit all the time, but her actual name is Cassandra Nuamah. Did I say it right?
Well done.
Yes. So I'm so excited that I got that right.
But Kev is right. Coach Cass Fit is my handle on Instagram and YouTube. So that's my alias on Instagram and YouTube, Coach Cass Fit.
But I use it in real life. I'm always like, hey, Coach Cass Fit.
Because he's special.
And I have a nickname too. She gave me a nickname. Okay, so Cass, jumping straight out there, you are a New York City transplant. Can you tell us about your journey growing up in the DMV and actually making it to NYC?
I came here to NYC back in 2006. So it's been a little over 12 years now. So I guess I could call New York kind of home, I guess, when you pass the 10-year mark. But growing up in DC area, people always think DC is like a happy medium between New York and the South. And I guess it is, but you have a love-hate relationship with New York. Either you love it or you hate it. Either you love to ride the subway or you don't. Either you like to carry all your groceries in your hand or you don't. Either you like washer and dryer in your house or you don't. There's certain things that I had to get used to when I first moved here, and I really like it now. It's a great place. You know, I grew up in DC area, but New York has become my new home per se.
Okay. Love it. Love it. How do you feel growing up with African parents in America has shaped you? Because you're originally from Ghana.
Yes. It's grounded me culturally. I know that there's certain things growing up that we would do if we lived in Ghana, but we do when we're living here, such as all my mom's friends or anybody who's older than me is auntie. All my dad's friends are uncle. When I cook for everyone, not just me. And those are things that are also similar in the Southern culture too. I mean, we're all the same people. So I think with that, and then even knowing I know the local language in Ghana, I know Tree and Fenty and a little bit of Ga, but knowing the local language and then culturally, just certain things family-wise, I think that grounded me.
Okay. Love it. So now you travel the world and you show people your country on trips from your business called Africa With Us. Can you enlighten us about your trips and, you know, what they entail? I want to know about the food and everything.
Sure. Africa With Us even started because our fitness brand, Kukua Fitness, allows people to travel Africa through music and dance. And so because people are allowed to travel through music and dance, we're like, why not take them literally to Africa? Our trips are usually 2 weeks. It entails fitness, it entails dance, it entails amazing food, it entails community service, local activities. The biggest thing that stand out about our trips is that you get to feel like a local, because everywhere we go, if it's not our country, if it's not Ghana and it's somewhere else, we have friends and family in that country. So you'll be going to auntie's house for dinner, you'll be going to a local barbecue, you'll be learning how to cook and make the local foods, you'll be dancing on the beach with a traditional and modern Afrobeat. You'll be going into the local village, a village that either we grew up in or our family or friends know. And actually, you could see what you're giving and doing. Sometimes you give community service-wise and you don't see it. But on our trips, you actually get to go in the village and see exactly what you're doing and giving. Another thing on our trips is that you get to know history, whether it's your history or if you're not from the diaspora, about our history. You really get to dive into that. We make sure that you know the parallels between Africa and the diaspora and here. And you get to meet new people. We're not just all clicked off in a group. You get to meet locals. You get to meet other transplants. You get to learn a lot of the local languages and traditions. I can't talk about it enough. I know it's our trip, but it's just so amazing. And I travel a lot. And I was like, people have to experience this amazing joy, this culture, this experience. Like, we can't keep this to ourselves. So yeah, you come to Africa With Us, you're going to get epic time, good food, great dancing, working out, community service, and culture.
I love that. And when you just said all of that, what you're inspiring me to think about is a lot of times people don't share their culture or don't make it readily available for others to come in and experience. What inspired you, your mom, and your sister to go ahead and say, you know what, we want to open this up and we want other people to have this experience, especially those who are of the African diaspora, you know, to really be able to come back home to Africa and connect?
Because you don't know what you don't know. A lot of people are not going, not because they don't want to, it's because they just don't know, or they don't know somebody there. So if we could be that gateway, or we could be that bridge for somebody to go, then why not? We were able to, my parents and generations were brought here, and we learned about American culture and European culture and all those cultures. Mm-hmm. So why not learn about ours and make it available to others to do the same?
And are you first generation?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Just was very curious about that. Originally, you wanted to work at the IMF or the World Bank, but saw Boomerang, the movie, and it changed the course of your life and inspired you to work in another field. Can you tell us about that experience and, you know, what you were studying and, you know, how this all came about?
Yeah, so undergrad, I went to University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I studied economics because I wanted to work at the World Bank or the IMF. And the reason I wanted to work there, because at the time I really felt like I could work there and help to manage how third world countries, specifically in Africa, got money to handle their infrastructure, their roads, their schools, all of that. That was my path. I took all the finance classes, all the finance internships, economics. That was my path until my junior year. I was watching Boomerang one night featuring Eddie Murphy and Robin Gibbons and some other people. Halle Berry and mad people that you might recognize. But anyway, they were working in advertising. And I knew nothing about advertising. And I'm not to say that that is the true representation of what advertising is, right, but it just seemed hella fun. I was like, I want to work in a field like that. So at the next career fair, when one of the biggest agencies called Ogilvy came to the campus, I just asked them about their internship program, but it was motivated from watching Boomerang and Strong J motivating that perfume.
Right, Grace Jones.
Right.
It's a commercial where she gave birth to.
Right. So they would ask me on my interview, like, we looked at your resume. You have all these finance internships. You're like economics bound. What made you all of a sudden switch to advertising? And I said, have you heard of a movie called Boomerang? And depending on who I'm talking to, they heard of it. And of course, they heard of Eddie Murphy or whatnot. But anyway, that's kind of how I got into advertising. But I've always been in health and fitness because my mother, rewind, she was pregnant with me, broke her water in the middle of class, teaching class with me. So I was born into it, for lack of a better word. I just wasn't always on that path.
You was always into it, literally.
Right.
Like your mom was doing
right,
that.
like literally born into it, but I wasn't always on that path. And I can go more into that. But in school, I taught in class at the local rec center. Like that's how I made money while I was an undergrad. I taught kukwa dance at the local rec center to make money. That was still while I was pursuing the economics thing, and then I switched over into advertising. And even when I first moved into New York, I taught at literally every gym in the city, from Golds to Bally's to Reebok to New York Sports. Every gym in the city I pretty much have taught there or touched. So I was always into it. I would leave during my lunch break and go teach. I would go after work and go teach. And this was while I was working in advertising, but I was still teaching, and that was like my side thing. But let me rewind, because I was literally born into it, but I said I wasn't always on that path. I wasn't always on that path because you know how if you're a pastor's child and you don't want anything to do with the church?
Yeah.
I was kind of that way, but more with food. I was like, pass me the Twinkie, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to hear it. I was active. I loved to dance. I played basketball. I ran track. I did all of that, 50 pounds heavier. But after practice, I would want a whole thing of Krispy Kremes, or I would want pancakes, or I want whatever. And the way my body is set up and my metabolism is set up, I can't necessarily do that. And I didn't realize that until later. But anyway, like Kev said it when he was introducing me earlier, I lost 50 pounds. So I was doing all these things. I ran pen relays. I played basketball in high school, did intramurals in college, did all of that bigger. And I was like, I'm just
50 pounds heavier. What is that weight?
That 180.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5'4".
5'4", 180. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm 130 now, 30-ish, depending on what day you ask me. Yeah, so I was doing all that bigger, and I'm like, I'm just a big girl. I'm big boned, whatever you want to call it. And my mom was like, no, you're not. You're actually just not paying attention to what I'm telling you. And you need to get your life together food-wise and be more of a healthy mindset. So fast forward, my sister, she has lupus. She got diagnosed with lupus when she was 11. My sister's 33 now. She got diagnosed with lupus when she was 11. When she was 18, the doctors gave her 2 weeks to live. Literally, we picked out caskets. I still have her eulogy written out. Like, it was real. My mom was like, they said she's gonna die already. I might as well try what I know. My mom is really into holistic health, and she would go to holistic health conferences and learn about how people get healed from cancer and how people get healed from different drastic diseases through health and wellness. So she went to the conference about juicing, about eating correctly, about detoxing, all of these things. She said, let me try it. They said, my daughter's gonna die. Let me try what I know already. So literally in the middle of the night, she's like, Cass, we're leaving the hospital. We didn't get permission to leave. She's like, take the IVs out her arm, we're leaving. I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? My dad's like, why don't we just listen to the doctor? And my mom was like, the doctor says she's dying. Like, we have to go. So the police actually came to our house and was like, if she dies, that's on your hands. Even though they said she was gonna die already. And my mom was like, well, you said she's gonna die, let me try what I know. So took her off all the steroids, all the medications that they had her on. My sister is 88 pounds. She's paralyzed from the waist down. She has eczema all over her body. She has like 3 strands of hair. I mean, she's literally like living dead. Like, she looks like you could see skeletons everywhere. Really hard time for our family. My mom took off work. My dad was there too. My mom only gave her juiced veggies and water like every hour on the hour. She was juicing for her. And sometimes my sister vomited, sometimes she diarrhea, sometimes she kept it down. But some of those nutrients were definitely going in because in like a month, my sister stood up from the wheelchair. First of all, she passed the 2-week mark that she was supposed to die. And Dr. Doomsday and all those people were like, oh, what's going on? What are you guys?
Dr. Doomsday?
That's what my mom called them.
Right.
So,
Lady K.
yeah.
Let's go, Lady K.
So my mom's name is Kukua, and that's the name of our fitness business, but she also goes by Lady K sometimes too. So, so Lady K said, you know, Dr. Doomsday and all of you people, like, you're here preaching death, and I know what I needed to do. And so she did what she learned, which was the holistic way through juicing, through detoxing, only water, only veggies. And my sister, within a month, she stood up. Then her hair started to grow back. She gained like 15 pounds. I mean, and this was before my eyes, my like Twinkie donut everyday self. I'm like, all right. And mind you, I'm doing all of this. I'm still active, but I'm pre-diabetic, mad bumps on my face. My menstrual cycle was like out of control, rolling on the floor, almost going to the hospital every month. And that's because my diet was a mess. Like, I thought I could out-exercise my diet. And it wasn't even just about weight. It was really about being healthy. And it took my sister nearly dying and my mom saving her the health and fitness way. No, more even health-wise, because fitness-wise is part of it, but health, meaning nutrition, for me to see that, for me to want to change my life too. So because of that, I enrolled in a program called the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And I studied over 100 different dietary theories and different ways in which food affects your body and the breakdown of it. And not just food, but emotions and the whole pie of your life. So like fitness is one pie, and then relationships is another pie, career is another pie, finance is another piece of the pie. So all these pieces make the pie. And I liked that school a lot because it's not like I just went to nutrition school. I feel like I went to a holistic nutrition experience. And so for me, it really trained me to be more of a coach. And that's how I came about with the alias Coach Cass, because I'm able to coach people into being their best self. So yes, fitness wise, yes, nutrition wise, but also positive energy, also motivating, also inspiring. But that's how it happened. I was conceived in a fitness class. I didn't always follow the path until my sister got deathly ill. Then I saw it change in front of my eyes. I decided to change my life, went back to school to get more knowledge on how to do that, and became certified as a trainer as well. And then became health coach, fitness coach, positive energy coach, dance teacher. Always been dancing, but also took additional training in that as well. I've done tap, I've done jazz, I've done modern, I've done contemporary, I've done all different types as well. That's why I'm Coach Cass. I just coach you to like be and see your best self, basically, but more in the fitness and health realm.
How is Samantha doing now?
She's very well. She teaches as well, more children. Mm-hmm. She does like after school program teaching. She also does event planning too. Mm-hmm. She's very creative. She was actually just here this weekend in New York visiting, but
living her best life.
Yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. That's exactly what she's doing.
So Samantha is Cass's sister. Yes. Create Your Life family, just to clear that up, because I'm just throwing out names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're only 22 months apart, so we're pretty close. I always think of her as like my little sister, but she's going to be 34 this year, so she's not like so little, but I feel that way.
I love it. Okay, so your mom is your business partner, your sister is your business partner. How do you balance keeping the family business on one side or turning on and off the entrepreneur and family switch? How do y'all balance that?
It has always been a struggle, but it got easier when we have brought other people in on the team that are not our family, like, you know, business-wise, but that aren't our immediate family, that we're, you know, liable and responsible to other people to get things done and making sure that things are professional and whatnot. So involving people outside of us really helped. And then just us really having the same drive to want something to be successful. So we all are like party starters and always want to go out and do this and do that. But at the end of the day, if we have something to do, we have a goal to get done. We all have that same drive and that same mindset. me and Lady K could be out at a beach party somewhere, and then she's like, Cass, did you do the invoices for da-da-da-da? I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. Okay, let's leave. Let's go do it. Stuff like that. Like,
Right.
it immediately I switch into like, okay, this is important. This needs to get done. But we also have our fun time too, but involving people that aren't part of our immediate circle with meetings, with reports and proposals and whatnot, that helps us stay on track.
Yo, how did your mom instill in you this work ethic? Even though you were going through your rebellious phase, it still sounds like the fitness was a part of life, right? So talk to us a bit about your mom and, you know, your dad as well, and the values that they were instilling in you all in order to become who you are now. Because, I mean, to have that close-knit family business, that means that there's a great relationship going on there, you know, parentally.
So yeah, I actually really thank God for my parents, both my mom and my dad, because success was not an optional thing. Doing well, going to school, and whether you went for higher education, whatever you did, you better do it well and you better make us proud kind of thing. My dad is full of parables, especially African parables, and he would always say, time and tide waits for no one, Cass. Meaning like life is going to pass you by if you don't make sure you get on your, I'm not going to curse.
Your A game.
Your A game, yes.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
I am not going to curse. No matter what is happening, time is always going to be ticking, but you better be making moves while it's ticking.
Right.
And don't disappoint me. That was another thing too. Like, don't come look me in my face and tell me you can't do this or you can't do that, because we've both worked so hard to get you where you are, and you know, you've never had to suffer in the way that we did growing up, so don't give me an excuses type of thing.
Did you hear a lot from your parents about the struggles that they had to endure on their way coming over and to get here?
Yeah, so it was kind of like, that's why it was like, don't even try to tell me you have excuses, because we put you in a position where you don't have any excuses. So you have no other option but to make it happen, but to do well. We've put you in certain schools and this and that, and, you know, put you in every activity you ever wanted to do and more. And, you know, my dad was at every PTA meeting. He was at every finish line at track, every basketball game, everything. I really can't think of, as soon as me and my sister turned 16, we got our cars, we got this, I can't think of anything that I didn't have or want. And they also made us work. Like, I got my first job when I was 14 at Sears Portrait, taking pictures.
Nice.
So yeah, it wasn't like everything is handed to you. Like, you paid for stuff. I had to pay my car insurance. When I was 16, I had to pay my everything, gas, this and that. Like, so there was a work ethic, and then also constantly bringing us back and forth to Ghana, other countries, traveling all the time to see, you know, people don't have it easy, so you better be grateful. So exposing us to travel. I think our first trip, I could remember maybe when we were like 3. I remember traveling, or maybe 2. I can't remember. But
So was Sam here or no?
yeah, Sam is 22 months different from me. But my mom, we always were traveling all the time. But to see, by the age of like 6, to have gone to like 3 continents already, and I can't even remember how many countries, like, we saw so many before being spoiled and saying, I want this Barbie and I want this and I want that. Then not even caring if we had a TV, not caring if I had a Barbie or not. Like, it really put things in perspective.
Wow.
And so the travel, which I'm going to do with my kids too, is make sure that they get out of America and see other continents and see other, you know, and even in America too, like seeing that everybody lives differently, everybody has different opportunities, and you just better be grateful for what you have and work with what you have. Even if you didn't get what other people had, you need to just be grateful and be resourceful. And that was another thing they taught us too, to be resourceful, because we weren't the richest family, but they made us feel that way. Yeah, they really instilled that like work ethic, and that you're not going to be, it was just not an option not to do well. Like, you better do well. Whatever it is. If you're going to be a trash man, you better be a best trash man. You better own that trash company, and you better, like, you know, it doesn't really matter what you did, but you better do it well.
Right. Do it well or not at all.
Yeah.
So how many continents have you been to?
There's Asia and Africa and Australia and
North America, of course. You live in.
North America, Europe. I've never been to Antarctica. Yeah, so 5.
Okay. So still going. Are you going to do all 7? I know you are. Because you're you.
But I have no desire to go to very cold places.
I'm with you on that. But I'm saying you just got to touch it
But
down.
you got to
spend
touch
a day.
it, right?
Like, Cass is like, Cass is like a superhero, Create Your Life fam. So I'll be like, oh, Cass, have you ever done this? And she'd be like, yeah, well, I used to such and such. And it's like a super one-up. I'm like, oh, Cass, do you know how to swim? Yeah, I used to be a lifeguard. I could save you. Of course you were. Oh, Cass, have you ever, been to this place? Yeah, I was there teaching monks how to blink. And he's like, okay, well, it's just Cass.
Oh my God.
So, Cass gon' Cass. How they be like, Steph Curry, Steph gon' Steph, Cass gon' Cass.
I can't.
You know what I mean? Wow, Create Your Life family. I hope that you are really enjoying this episode. I wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors and let you know that our sponsors are giving special offers just for you. If you are a fellow busy podcaster who just wants to record and spend the rest of your time doing what you love, like working out at the gym, with family and friends, or traveling, use code CYLS for a discount on services when you go to podcastlaundry.com or call 347-871-8273 to schedule your consultation. That's podcastlaundry.com or 347-871-8273. And without further ado, let's get back to the show. So, Cass, how did your career in advertising help you as an entrepreneur? And who are some of the brands that you work with, too? I don't want to sleep on that. It's another Cass gon' Cass type situation. Tell us.
So my very first campaign I worked on was the Dove campaign. I don't know, you guys might remember, with all the women with different sizes in their panties and bra, and it was like everybody doesn't have to be a size 2. That was like my first campaign that I worked on. Worked on Dove, Unilever in general. Worked on Monster.com, the job website. Worked on General Electric, GE. Worked on Snickers. Worked on Vlasic pickles randomly. Worked on American Express was very crucial in my growth as well too.
Why so?
Because I did massive projects in India for them, and I was in India for some time, and they really gave me a lot of responsibility. And I was only 24 at the time, and to be leading like crews of hundreds of people, and for them, even in India, it has a very heavy caste system. And for me to be so dark and to be leading people that believe that I should be at the bottom of the caste system was a very eye-opening, enlightening, awkward yet cool experience. And a funny story. So when I first get to India, in Delhi, at the Amex headquarters, so this is when Amex, it kind of comes full circle, because my first big project at Amex was the Plum Card, which is a card for small business owners.
Okay.
And so funny that I'm now a small business owner, and I had to speak to them about how do you speak to entrepreneurs, small business owners, and what do small business owners look for in a card, and what types of things that they deal with in life. And it's just funny how it's full circle that I'm the target market that I was talking about. Anyway, I was in India, touchdown, and the representatives at the call center asked my boss, where's Cassandra? So I'm standing right there. They're like, where's Cassandra? And she's like, what do you think Cassandra looks like? And I always talk to them on the phone. So they think I'm a Caucasian lady with blue eyes and blonde hair. And that's what they said. They said, blue eyes, blonde hair, I don't know. But basically, they were describing a Caucasian lady. And she said, what if I told you Cassandra's standing right here? And I don't know what's wrong with my mouth, but I was like, you guys thought I was here to clean the floor, didn't you? And then one of the girls goes, yeah, I actually did.
At least she was honest.
And then my boss was just like, and this is why, she was like, and this is why Cassandra's here to give you guys this training, so you know that in America, she's like, people, and all over the place, she's like, business owners come in all different shades, and people that you might not think are in levels of authority are. And so you need to know how to speak to everyone at the same type of level and deal with everyone at the same type of level. So Cassandra's here to train you. And then the girl who said, I actually thought you were here to clean the floors, she pulled me to the side after our little talk and was like, it's very bizarre because it's true. Like, we have a caste system here and you would be at the bottom. Like, we thought you'd be like, because the Southern Indians are usually very dark or whatever. But just talking to you for a little bit, I already know that I'm going to learn so much from you, and I'm really excited. Da, da, da. She was just like, we've never had training from anyone that we thought was on the bottom of the system. So this is going to be interesting.
And what's, to piggyback off of that, there's actually a group of people, I believe that they might be Southern, from the southern part of India, called the Untouchables.
And that makes sense.
Right. Well, people will literally they won't touch them. I forget what the backstory is, but there's actually a YouTube documentary on them. But Cass, you touch on something I think is really important. Like, I've always been aware of the caste system in India, and a lot of times they say that it doesn't exist anymore, but
no, it totally does.
It definitely exists. It's kind of like an unofficial thing, kind of like racism and classism here in the States, right? But I believe that there might be a little bit worse because of last names and things like that. Like, they can really discriminate. For yourself, being of such a chocolate rich color, have you had a lot of experiences like that where people have treated you differently from your complexion? And if so, how do you navigate that and kind of combat it as well?
I guess I have to rewind to growing up where it wasn't. I felt like it was more, I hated it growing up because it was not seen as good. It was like, why are you so black? Why are you always... People remember me now because I'm the darkest one, but people remember me also back then too because I was darkest one. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I could have looked at it as like, oh, I'm really unique and I stand out. Mm-hmm. But at the time I was like, I'm so different and I'm always, now I look at it in that way as like, I'm unique and I'm very memorable. Like people always remember who I am just because I look 9 out of 10 times I'm the darkest one in the room usually, unless I'm with my other Sudanese or Senegalese or whoever that's usually a darker shade than I am. But more than likely, I'm usually the darkest. And specifically in India, it's funny that you say untouchables because everybody wanted to touch me there. Mm-hmm. But it was like touching like a pterodactyl or some type of weird, like they would just like touch my hair, touch my face, and I allowed them to do it. Mm-hmm. The little kids would all run up to me. We're at the Taj Mahal, and I'm thinking they're looking at the Taj Mahal, and they're looking at me. Wow. Even in South Africa, I'm on the safari truck, and there's an Asian group that passes by, and I'm thinking they're taking pictures of giraffe or taking pictures of me. And I'm like, oh my God,
what is happening?
What is going on?
Right.
So I could be offended or I could be like, okay, I guess I look different. But I run into traveling a lot. I run into these experiences a lot. So I don't really get offended per se because a lot of people haven't seen Black people or even of my shade or my hue up close. So maybe they're like, I've never seen this before, so they can't stop staring or they want to take a picture. Whatever it is, the way that I deal with it is that I turn it into like, I'm a unique, different type of person that maybe people don't see all the time. So expect to get stared at, expect to get pictures, or expect to people not to know how to handle it. And they might say something that's offensive, but don't take it that way because you can't help what they feel or think, but you could help how you receive it. So, yeah, I just receive it in a way that I'm unique and I'm different and I'm memorable.
Yeah. With all due respect, I think you're absolutely beautiful. And I actually personally love your skin complexion. I've told you that like multiple times. Something that you talked about, which I think is super important, especially for, those others out there, other people out there who are blessed to have the same hue and the same skin complexion as you, is self-esteem. When you were coming up and it wasn't, I guess, so popular or, what you were describing earlier, how did you navigate that early on? And who were some of your champions to enforce the fact that you're beautiful? Your cast is beautiful, right? You know what I mean? Yourself.
It actually took a very long time because I didn't really see any models. There was no Lupitas. There was no... Alec Weck actually was the first... Alec Weck is a supermodel. She was the first very dark type of model that I saw. Even Naomi Campbell, like she seemed light-skinned to me because I'm so dark, so I couldn't really relate.
At what age did you see Alec Weck?
I saw her like a teenager, like late teenager age. So before then, my mom would be like, Cass, you're beautiful. I'm like, of course you're going to say that, you're my mom. Like, and I, oddly enough, found validation, and you're not supposed to, but I found validation from other little boys. And you, as a girl, you're not supposed to find validation from guys, but boys would be like, you're really pretty to be so dark. And it shouldn't be that type of backhanded compliment. But at the time when I was younger, to me, that was a compliment as opposed to you're black and ugly. It was like, you're actually pretty though, but you're really black, but you're pretty. And so it was backhanded, but it was
mad about that. Go ahead.
It was when you're 12 or you're 11 or however old, and you don't feel that you're pretty, but another little boy is like, you're dark, but you're pretty. It's a backhanded compliment looking at it as an older person, but when you're younger and you don't really understand or whatever, it gave me some type of like, okay, they still said I'm pretty.
Right.
They didn't say that I'm so black and ugly, like I'm still pretty even though I'm black. So that was my first like, okay, maybe I am pretty. From other little boys. And my dad, and that's why also, my dad started telling me later in like when I was an older teenager, but I really encourage black males with daughters, no matter what age, please like constantly tell them that they're beautiful and that they're amazing. And it's not my dad never told me, but his love language is not to express it in that way. So I heard it from other my peers as opposed to him when I was like a little bit older. So just a small aside to those who have daughters that are listening, please tell them that they're beautiful no matter what hue of skin they have, just so they don't get validation from other little boys.
Love it. That is it's so beautiful. And I like the fact that you were able to pick the positive out of everything. Because that's what I'm hearing from you on a consistent basis, throughout this conversation, is that no matter what's being said to you, you're taking the positive of your experience and saying, you know what, this is how I receive it. You're in control and empowered by that. I feel like wherever you go, people absolutely love you. And you have like the most amazing energy. I told you were like one of the most amazing humans I ever met. And you thought that I was kidding. I don't know why. But I'm curious, what's the secret to Coach Cass's happiness?
Dancing, I guess. Dancing. And the secret to my happiness is doing what I love. And I love to dance. And I love to work out. And I love to help people. And I love seeing other people happy or smiling. And so I actually said this the other day, there's 5 things that I do every day. And I think that helps to me being happy is dance. It's workout. It's pray. It's help somebody. And I can't remember what the 5th one was, but it's something along those lines. Either I'm helping somebody or I'm dancing or working out or something. One of those things you'll find me doing every day. And that's why what I'm doing now is so purposeful to me, because no matter how hard it gets or how challenging it is, I'm living in my purpose and on purpose, as my sister Jovian Zane would say.
Jovizi.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to switch modes a little bit and kind of get into Coach Cass and the business of Coach Cass. How big is your team, and how did you go about assembling your team? I know it's you, your mom, and your sister, but you talked about having a team that's bigger than just the family.
We have lawyers on the team. We have strategic advisors on the team. We have social media interns. We have instructors. We have 200 instructors, actually.
That are certified in Kukwai?
That are certified in Kukwai, right. Mm-hmm. That are around the world. And then we have local instructors. So because we travel so much, we have other instructors that help us sub our classes and have their own classes. So that is what our team is kind of comprised of. Finance person, social media person, law person, strategic advisors. And then we also have our Africa With Us teams. Mm-hmm. So like our local country ambassadors. So like our ground team. So we have our community service people, like those people who are in touch with the villages for like giving donations and this and that. We have our restaurants and our vendors, the people that we support, whether they're local family or friends that we support. Mm-hmm. We have our welcome committee team. So people that are there, whether the people are in country with us or we're doing a custom trip and we're not with them, people that welcome people into the country. So our on-ground ambassador, Africa With Us people, that's also part of our team.
Sound like you rocking about 500 people or something like that.
So they're all at different times. Like our core team, I want to say, is like 10 people that I'm always talking to like every day. Yeah. But if we're in Ghana, then I'm talking to the ground team there more. If I'm in Zimbabwe or wherever we are, it depends. Like we're going to be in Indonesia in the end of November.
And you're leaving to Kenya next week.
Yes. And so I've been in contact, actually all this morning, I was in contact with Kenya team and a Tanzania team to make sure that things are in place because we're taking a group there next week. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. How do you balance so many people in so many different places and kind of switching modes? Like, does everyone take on like a team or managing a team, or are you like the point person for all? Like, how does that work?
Actually working that out now, the balancing, because me and my mom, and we have an operations manager. He helps us as well too. And my sister, like we're like the point people, because my role in advertising used to be I was a producer. And so I'm very used to managing different teams and different pieces of a puzzle working at once. So even though we have somebody delegated to certain things, at the end of the day, I end up being the like final point person or say. So I'm trying to, that's a personal thing of me, like letting go, letting other people do it fully. Like I let other people do it, but fully is the word, like let them really do it. Yeah, it's still a work in progress.
Got you. What are some of the things that you wish you knew before jumping into being an entrepreneur?
That you don't have to have everything together right away. Like it's a step-by-step thing. And I saw my mom do it growing up too, but she also had my dad to help support her too. And like, It was a little bit different, but I just wish that I didn't have to have everything all right away. And that me going into that accelerated program, that Institute of Integrated Nutrition, really helped me to set up. Like, they helped me with my website, they helped me with business cards, they helped me with proposals, and like they really set me up after graduation for like a good way into being successful. But I was looking at my peers who had already been in it for like years and thinking that I need to be at the same level. So one, just not comparing. Two, that you have to have your niche and you have to stay true to that niche and you have to stay in your lane or else you'll literally crash.
Love that. What made you finally make the leap from working in advertisement into entrepreneurship?
The balancing act that I couldn't do anymore. I would leave work, go teach, come back into the office at like 12 a.m., stay in the office till 3 a.m., turn around, go personal train at 6 a.m. Like, it was nuts. And I couldn't put the same amount of energy anymore. And then traveling started to pick up and I actually got in trouble. My boss was like, he was like, can I talk to you for a second? I said, oh God. He's like, so you can't really be taking just sabbaticals like this. Like, you just one moment here and the next moment there. And I would have coverage and I would make sure, things were done. But I was already living like I was on my own my own schedule. And he was kind of like, what do you want to do? Because the clients really like you. And that's why I'm having this conversation with you. We're going to have layoffs soon. And I need to know, do you want to stay here? What do you want to do?
Right.
And so I quit that day, actually.
Oh, wow.
But he knew it. He could tell. I mean, and I started to become a point where I was like wearing workout spandex to the office, and I was just not there. And people knew it. Like, we would come into a meeting and people would be asking me about like workout plans and stuff, and not what we were talking about, not the like scope of work or what we were trying to do. Like, they would talk to me about other stuff. Sure. So the day I quit, it wasn't a surprise to anybody. They were like, "Oh, we know what you're doing," and a lot of them became my clients too.
Awesome.
Which was funny.
I love hearing that. So the universe basically aligned for you. Well, I think that says a lot about a person. So we had someone on recently, and he was describing how he left his job, and when he left, his former employee became his client, and it was like a huge contract. And so I'm always curious as to what was it that you were doing to make these people, your coworkers, etc., say, you know what, I believe in what you're doing, want you to train me, or I want to be your client. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that just speaks so much to the work ethic and the character of the person. But what specifically was Coach Cass Fit doing?
I think they would just see me around like, I would be there early because I would just finish personal training. But then I would be sometimes I'd be at my desk doing little workouts at my desk. Like, I would be, you know how people show you things that you could do at your desk? Like, I would do those things, whether it's squats or whatever. I'd be doing those things. I would pack my little baggies and I would post it on social media. Like, this is what I'm bringing to lunch today. And these people follow me too. So they're like, okay, she actually does this. And people that I would go teach class and come back during lunchtime and after work. And those people in those classes and stuff, they didn't even know I had a quote unquote real job. They just thought that I taught class and did whatever. Like, they didn't know that I also had a corporate job. But my corporate job people knew that I would leave to go teach. I'd be like, guys, I know we have a meeting right now, but I'll be back because I need to go to this class. I'll be back. Like, I would actually legit say that. But the corporate culture, and that's how I also got into corporate wellness, because people saw the value they're like, that's why you're always happy and bubbly and sparkly, because you would leave and come back and just be even so much more excited than when you left. Because I would have my lunchtime high and then come back to a meeting or whatever and not be stressed. Whereas they would crash with their coffee at like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Right.
And I would just be, ready to go. But I had to go into the next phase, which was no more balancing this, but go all the way into it.
And you still do that on your Instagram and your social media now. You're posting the workouts, you're posting yourself cooking and things like that. And your morning workout every single morning. So how do you stay consistent on social media?
People make me stay consistent. I have people that send me messages all the time like, I wasn't going to do anything today, but I saw your post, or thank you so much for getting me back on track. I have no idea that I'm getting somebody back on track, but they're following me, and they're, this girl sent me transformation pictures of when she first started following me, and then 2 months later. And I'm like, wow. And I have no idea. I've never talked to her. I started a challenge in April called Adore Your Core. And she's like, I was doing your Adore Your Core challenge, and that's when I first discovered you. And ever since then, I've been, following. And, when I always struggle with enjoying the moment and capturing it. And I think a lot of creative people do, because sometimes you just want to be in the moment and you don't want to capture it. But sometimes somebody's only lens to that experience or to that is you. So I actually force myself and make myself capture things or do things because I know somebody else. Like, I made a commitment to help other people. So no matter how I feel, I have to help them. So even if my hair is looking crazy or my eyes or whatever's looking crazy, I got to get on camera and do it for somebody else because I made a commitment to help other people.
Love it. How do you manage and maintain your mental health? Because you are responsible, or you've taken on the responsibility, of so many others, and you need to do these things. But we all experience burnout and stuff like that. So, how do you stay motivated? How do you manage your mental health and make sure that you are able to be consistent? Because I've had the opportunity to know you. I feel like your consistency is so remarkable, and I really appreciate and respect it. And so how Coach Cass?
I consistently party. When I say party, I'm a carnival head. The reason why I like carnival so much, because it's the epitome of letting your hair down. So for me personally, it might not be for somebody else, but for me personally, I like those type of outlets where I could just be like crazy and let go, and I like the energy of people or whatnot. Those type of things, vacation-wise, and letting go, or going to a soca fete, or going to a African party, or a old school hip hop party, or whatever it is. I like to party and let loose, but not at the expense of my clients or my business, but at my mental health. I need that to keep me sane. So I work hard and I play hard as well. That keeps me mentally sane. And then health-wise, like working out keeps me, if I'm going for a run, or I, just did a session, yoga, or taking other people's classes, or it makes me happy and keeps me sane. So doing things that make me happy, which is part of those 5 things I mentioned. And partying is one of them, because I like to dance and I like to have a good time. So yeah. And then traveling, seeing other places, that also gives me life and makes me happy. Mentally, it stimulates me too.
Okay. How do you handle critics and naysayers of what your career choice or passion is, if they even exist for you?
I actually experienced quite a bit of negativity through people will like direct message me hateful things.
Really?
And it's back to my skin complexion, or it's back to, oh, you can't really dance, or something, some of those things. But I actually don't find it offensive. I just find that person needs help, or something's wrong with the person. Because for you to take time to put down somebody else means that you're feeling a way about yourself. So I actually, for you to find something about me, or you to take that time, that means that I'm of some significance to you. So that's a compliment in itself. And then 2, when somebody says that you can't do something, they only say that because they can't do it. So, I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate that you can't do that, but I can. So, when you feel like you can, then speak to me. But if you can't, then just stay over there, because I'm going to do it. And if you have something negative to say, it's not about what you say, but it's about how I receive it. So I can choose to let it bother me, or I could choose to, just go my way and keep praying for you and other people that have problems.
I'm so happy I asked you that question. I appreciate your answer to it. And a lot of what you're saying is just about receiving and, really being in control of yourself. So I admire that discipline about you that you are instilling to our audience now as we're listening. I'm trying hard not to tear up, though.
Oh my God.
Who are some of your sheroes that you look up to?
Well, my mom is one of my number one
Lady K.
Lady K. She's my business partner and my bestie and my mom and my everything. I just really look up to her because she, all by herself, like put together, she's the only African woman I know that has been in the fitness industry. It's like she's literally a pioneer in the fitness industry. She put together her own certification program.
Right.
She put together the first online certification program before AFA and ACE even put it online.
Before who?
AFA and ACE, which is like a nationally recognized American Fitness Association of America. And then ACE stands for, I forgot what ACE stands for, but they're nationally recognized with personal training and group exercise. Before they even went online, my mom had already done that online. And I was like, I'm just so proud of her, because she did all of this without going to school for it. Like, she just figured out how to do it. So yeah, she's my biggest shero, and some of my other sheroes, Oprah's one, Maya Angelou was one, Debbie Allen is another one. But all these people have something in common, which is they came from a place that wasn't ideal and they made it ideal, and they are so positive and push forward no matter what anybody says. They just kept with what they knew their purpose and passion was and made such a positive impact.
That's amazing. So what advice would you give to others who want to become fitness gurus and entrepreneurs like yourself?
I would tell them to make sure that they are true to themselves and that what I mentioned earlier about staying in your lane, because you are your secret sauce. You are what stands out. And there's a million, it might not be a million, but there's always another of somebody else in your industry, whether it's fitness, whether it's art, whatever it is, there's always another one. So you have to be true to yourself to know that you can't compare to them. You can't feel like, oh, the industry's saturated and I'm not going to do well. You know your strength and you know what you're good at, and people choose you and work with you because you're you. So you have to keep reminding yourself that, and you have to literally stay in your lane, because if you're not in your lane, you're looking at other people's lanes, that's how you crash. So I would tell any entrepreneur or person that wants to be successful in their own business to stay true to, first of all, why they're starting the business, because times get rough and it's not always cloudy skies, so you got to remember your why. And then two, don't compare with others in the same industry, because you're the secret sauce in your industry, so you got to stay true to that.
Okay. Cass, for you, what does your peer group look like?
I have some bosses in my peer group, I would say, who inspire me on a daily. I have VPs of companies in my peer group, doctors, lawyers, other very successful entrepreneurs. But the one thing that everybody in my peer group has in common is that they enjoy life to the fullest and don't care about what other people say. And if you do care about what other people say and you are a bump on the log, more than likely we won't hang out. Or I probably don't talk to you much. And if I do talk to you much and you're in that category, that's because I feel like you might need some help or motivation, so you're more of a client than a peer. But my peer group or my close group of friends inspire me to do better, and I hope I would do the same for them.
Love it. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? Career, hobby, or anything that you've always wanted to pursue?
Well, I guess going back to what we talked about in the beginning about me wanting to work at the World Bank or IMF, I don't know if it would be those companies specific, but I know that it would be something along the lines of helping a third world country or a nonprofit or something. It's funny that Cassandra means helper of mankind.
I didn't know that.
I like helping people. I help them in wellness ways, but I would be helping them in finance ways because that's what I studied and that's what I had leaned towards before. So that's probably what I would be doing, helping them from maybe private equity, investing in certain businesses or something.
Love it. I got to know, what is the secret to your social media success?
You have to do three things for people. Or you have to do either one of three things for people. You have to either educate them or entertain them or I guess help. Helping and educating is the same thing. But if you do something on your social media that makes them better, or if it doesn't make them better, it makes them laugh, or if it doesn't make them laugh, you're just like flat out entertaining or motivating, something, people follow you for a reason, and it's one of those things. Like every time they come to your page, they get something, or they're laughing, or they're entertained, or something. Some people, you're like, what are they doing? But you're entertained by what they're posting.
Right.
So they have a lot of followers because maybe you might not learn anything, but they might give you that comedic relief that you need for the day. And with me personally, because I do dance and fitness, I might post a dance video doing a dance to a song that I really like. And maybe you're not a dancer, but you might feel the energy from that dance, or maybe you might learn a move or two from that. Maybe I posted what I had for lunch and you weren't really sure, you're starting your wellness path and you're not sure what to eat, but you're like, let me go to Cass and see what she had today because maybe I can have that. So I noticed that the more I started to post, whether it was my personal life or helping people, that's how other people will tag their friends and say, hey, you should follow her too because she helped me do this, or, oh, I learned how to do this dance move I didn't know before, or something of that nature. And whatever industry you're in, if your goal is to help, then you need to post videos that help. If your goal is to entertain, then you need to entertain. Whatever it is in your industry, that's what you need to be posting more of, because that's why people follow you. And even straight up ask, why do you follow me? And people will tell you why, and then they'll give you more insight.
And how do you balance, your social media in terms of personal and professional life?
It's hard because it kind of runs into, it's like
integrated, right?
somebody asked me, like, do you have a personal Instagram and a business Instagram? And I was like, I was thinking about it, but then every single thing I do personally is also business-wise. But then at my Africa trips, we have a specific page for Africa with us because it was getting lost in my personal. Because even if I was in Africa, it was getting muddled with my other fitness and dance and other stuff. So we have a page specifically dedicated to the Africa trips. Because I'm doing what I would do even if I wasn't to get paid, it runs into each other. So when I post myself at a party, I might be dancing, but I'm also helping somebody else. People come up to me at a party and be like, can you teach me this move? Da, da, da. So I'm actually essentially still working because those same people come to my class. So it's like, it really runs hand in hand. It's so hard for me to separate it sometimes. But the times where I'll separate it is maybe in a contractual sense. If somebody asks me to do something and there needs to be contracts or something. But the purpose of my social media is to educate and inspire and motivate. And so everything I post does one of those things. And if it doesn't, then somebody needs to ask me why, because it has to do one of those. That was the purpose of me having that social media. So if it doesn't, then I need to open a different account.
Love it. What would you say are some of the success hacks that everyone should know?
One, to never cry over spilled milk. The milk is spilled, and you just get a napkin and figure out how you're not going to spill it again.
I love that analogy.
And thank you. Another thing is, I mentioned before about staying in your lane and not comparing. And it's very easy to do that with social media because you constantly see others. So you really have to have tunnel vision when it comes to your success path. Another thing is constantly humbling yourself and learning. Like, you've never made it. You should always be learning and reading and experiencing other people's things and, taking advice, because in Ghana we call it too known. We should never be too known, like you know everything and you've made it to the top. Another thing is, you shouldn't always be the teacher. You should also be a student. So those people and your peers around you should encourage that too.
Love that. And the other thing that I would say that you're also highlighting is when you said don't be too known, you focusing on progress and not perfection. So consistently progressing in life, and not necessarily too concerned with being perfect or being, the most known and stuff like that. Just continuing to grow and evolve. That's pretty dope. Was there ever any point that you were going to give up or felt that things were too much? When, why, and how did you push past that?
I don't necessarily broadcast those times on social media. I might say, I'm not having the best day right now and this is how I'm dealing with it. But I'm a believer that what you give energy to just grows. And so I didn't want to give as much energy to those things that were getting me down. There was certain sponsorships that didn't come through, so it put me in financial binds. Certain people that made commitments to me that I didn't bind contractually. And that's also, it's just lessons learned. I learned through going through these tough times that everything is a lesson or a blessing. It's not a regret. It's not a this shouldn't have happened. It's like those bad things that happened to me, whether it was sponsorships falling through or people that said they were going to do something and they didn't and put me in a bind financially or business-wise. We were able to get a lawyer team and we were able to figure out how to now have the proper contracts in place. And maybe if those bad things didn't happen, we wouldn't have had that. I had a bad time in 2014 when I left corporate initially, maybe 8 months in. There was a certain contract that was supposed to go through and it didn't, and I was really depending on it. That's another advice for entrepreneurs, don't always put your eggs in one bucket when you're not sure about something.
Well, Create Your Life family, that was Coach Cass Fit here with us today. As you know, we will be back. This episode was brought to you by PodcastLaundry.com. I love Podcast Laundry. It provides a real solution to free up my time, and time is the only resource that we cannot get back. Podcast Laundry was created with love to help other fellow busy podcasters free up time so that they could do more of what they love, whether that's traveling, time with friends and family, or working on other ventures. If you want to free up your time, then have Podcast Laundry do the dirty work of note-taking, graphic creation, editing, show tagging, and uploading for you. Go to podcastlaundry.com or call 347-871-8273 to schedule your consultation. And remember to use code CYLS. That's podcastlaundry.com or call 347-871-8273.